Definitely live. Right. Yes, we're live. Welcome to Doodles and Dice Shame, everybody. I am totally alone. Oh, it's so sad. Never mind. Alex Nursall, hi!
Hello.
Welcome.
I am I'm atoning for my sins of spending so much time harassing you in the chat.
Yes, you can really
Definitely
hear how
live.
much it bothers
Right.
me by
Yes,
how
we're
big my
live.
smile is. Oh, shoot.
Welcome
Why
to
can I hear
Doodles and
myself?
Dice Shame, everybody.
I just
I am
I
totally.
just saw the image pop up on the screen
Mhm.
that you drew of the bro. I'm straight up not having a good
Yeah,
time.
it felt right.
Oh, that's perfect.
I've
Oh
been
my
sitting on it
god.
since you posted that image, and it
Oh,
feels great, especially for this
that
episode.
that's beautiful and accurate. That's that's Mari all the
And
time.
there's Dor in there.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. I considered putting her in winter gear, but the tank top felt more
It
appropriate.
feels right.
It feels right.
Just yeah, it just feels right.
Yeah. My
Mm.
laptop is very clearly struggling right now, so it might be a little bit less of a drawing stream and more of a talking stream. But that's fine because you're here, and I'm literally smiling so big my face hurts. Okay.
Excellent.
My
Yes, I feel like I feel like I owe you for all of the times that I have sat in the chat during these just posting absolute nonsense and just sitting there being like egg, 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 and just
egg.
typing like Edward Muybridge over and
Oh, is
over
that how
again.
you say it? Well,
Yes, although I keep saying it's Edward
it
Muybridge,
weird
so
me beach.
yes.
No, no atonement. I'm deeply excited whenever you and Rob show up. It's amazing. Yeah, so do we want to get right into it? I mean, people are very excited in chat, and by people I mean my partner and Andy
Hell
and
yeah.
and you.
I will. I will call him out. I know you're watching, Rob. I know you're there.
Incredible.
Show yourself.
Coward.
Um, yes, get out here, you coward. No. So rude.
Uh,
There we go. Andy's yelling about Edward Muybridge
Perfect. Yep.
we have
There we
there's
go.
Rob.
And there's
Yeah.
Rob.
Yeah. We have
Perfect.
we have achieved equilibrium.
Mhm. Okay, I'm so excited. I want to talk about Mari. I want to talk to you. There's Scotty. Hi, Scotty. Scotty! And Faye! Oh, first time here, Faye, hello!
Hello.
Uh, let's just start. Let's just start. Oh my gosh, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm too excited. I'm like literally too excited. Okay. 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 How did you make your character conceptually? Why did you want to play a water genasi and a druid? Why did you pick her dead friends, her family, her pacifism, all of that? Left behind partner, her cooking, all of that. Talk about it,
Ooh.
please.
Ooh.
Hello.
Yeah. So when I originally got asked to join, it was one of those moments where it's like build a character, do whatever you want. And I was like, okay, which is always very daunting. And originally, I had this idea that I would actually play a monk. And I was like,
Ooh.
it'd be so fun to play a puddle that could kick you in the face. And then uh, I was kind of I suggested to Joe, and she very smartly, I think, was like, "Oh God, no one should have to keep track of key points." Um, so,
Wow.
no, I think she very smartly was like, "Okay, like that's cool." She's like, "Is there anything else like?" She suggested some other stuff, and she brought up Druid, and I was like, "Actually, that makes a ton of sense because I'm like a dirty hippie,
Mm-hmm.
so it fits well, I think, with." My own sensibilities in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And also I don't know, even as a kid, as an adult, I've always been one of those people who is like very into like any of the magic-y kind of stuff. I was like I
Oh
watched a
yeah.
lot of Sabrina growing up. I loved all these things. I loved Sailor Moon. And so getting to build a character around those tropes and those ideas and just have so much fun with it was like incredibly appealing. So that's where the druid part comes in. The water genasi is I started digging around with into all the like different options for the races, and like the last time I'd played D&D, I like built my own character was when I was 16, and I just played like an elf rogue or something, and I was like I got to play something
Classic.
different. So I So yeah, so I found the like Genasi, and I was like, oh, I get to play as like a I could play as like a weird like elemental like being. Like that just immediately was so much fun. I just had to. I was like, please, Joe, please, please say yes. Let me play as a weird water person. Cause yeah, I don't know. I want a character who just feels like she's like she could always be at the beach. I don't know. It's just it's a lot it's fantasy. It's you want to play the stuff that feels the most appealing to you.
She definitely feels like she could fuck off to the beach at any moment.
God, she could just turn to a spider and run.
Fuck off, guys. I'm out of
Yeah.
here. I'm gonna be a spider at the beach.
Oh my god. Give her yes, like a spider with like a glittering little spider with little sunglasses on,
Aw.
hanging out at the beach. No, I was immediately into the idea of playing her as a druid. Although I feel like I play her as kind of like a backwards druid. I don't do a lot of wild shaping.
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't feel like I've dressed her like a druid or anything. She's kind of dressed like she should be out fishing. Um,
She definitely has
and
more like animal bonds, but not like for herself. It's a very interesting take on a druid, I think. In that like she
I
oh go ahead.
Oh, sorry. You know, I just yeah, I just I love the nature aspect, but I didn't feel super attached to the parts like the sort of stereotypical like D&D druid stuff.
Yeah. And I think
So,
it helps to like cement her as a very different druid from all of the hundreds of other D&D podcasts out there. So it's fascinating to me. Um uh I love the puddle that can kick you.
yes,
There's something there
I
about like motion and like momentum of like just a water. Ah, that's interesting. Uh,
yeah, it was such a fun idea. It was a fun idea, but I think for story utility and for my own fun as a player, playing as a magic user over playing as a martial is I'm glad to be playing as a druid. I kind of I love it. It's
yeah, I'm with you there. Magic classes are just so much more fun, in my opinion.
I love them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's succinctly answered. This is just want to just check in and be like, this is crazy. I can't believe this is happening to me. My life is insane. Anyway, what are Mari's feelings towards her fellow party members? Does she have a favorite? Does she distrust any of them, admire or look up to or look down on any of them?
She's about to betray all of them.
Yeah!
Spoilers. Could you
Kill them
imagine?
all!
Yeah, get them. Get their ass.
Yeah.
No.
Jack
Um
first.
I poor Jack. I think like kind of part of the way I've been playing it is that she's got a bit more of a bond with Red, I think because he was the first person that she met in the first and like the character that brings her into the story.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think overall like temperament wise, there's both the most to clash with and the least to clash with him. Like
Yeah.
um so that which gives us this sort of like kind of like I think it can give it this kind of almost like siblingy kind of vibe where you're
Mm-hmm.
both like you both care about this person and you're both like why did you fight those guys, why did you do it?
You care about them
um
and they're aggravating. It can be both.
yeah,
Yeah.
people can be two things and you can love people even if they drive you insane.
Yeah.
um and that's what family is. No. And yeah, I think it's been really fun getting to like build out her relationships a bit more with the characters. I think um like in the recent episode where um her and Jack wake up the day after the party,
Yeah.
and the dagger has been like stabbed into the ground and everything.
Mm-hmm. Plant
And the
explosion.
room yeah, the plant explosion, I was so thrilled when Joe was describing that. I was like, "Oh, I love this so much." And but I like to think that there's been a shift in that relationship as well because it started like kind of a bit
Hostile,
antagonistic.
honestly.
Yeah, but I think that there's been a nice shift in there in the way that like uh you know, two magic users with like quite different styles like finding some common ground and also like being able to sort of find places to bond over those things. because the magic is different, but magic is magic.
Yeah.
And I like that there's sort of this little kind of, it's not like, so I don't want to say it's symbolic, but I do think that there's a really nice moment in having the the dagger and the staff and everything kind of all combine into this like one object.
Yeah. I think it's like really it's um almost a metaphor for their relationship kind of changing from the beginning.
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass, but it definitely is a very cool moment to have. I don't know, a wizard with a very druid like object, you know. Anyway.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to hear what Rob thinks. I know you're sitting in the chat, Rob, um, about that one. But I do really love that there's been like a shift in Jack's magic and this shift in like how he approaches it and the way it's treated. I think there's like a lot of really cool stuff there,
Yeah.
and uh, and I think that with that shift, it changes the relationship with Mari as well.
Yeah.
Um, and that's been fun. Um, and
It's very interesting. Oh, sorry.
oh no,
But
no, no, I was trailing off.
uh, uh because like they're both, I would say Mari less so, kind of at a crux of confidence in their magic, in that Mari did a reincarnation spell, quote unquote, wrong, uh, and Jack's going through Jack's a mess.
Yes, but he's our mess.
He's our mess. Um, I think it could lead to, obviously you know spoilers because this episode was recorded on April 4th, according to the spoilers that Harlan gave in the chat. Um, but like I think it could be a really cool moment to see them gain confidence in their magic together, essentially.
Hmm.
I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think that like there's a lot of I always love the idea of magic users coming together. I always love the idea of these things being combined and um
Mm-hmm.
uh, turned into like even more interesting or powerful magic because I don't know I have a lot of thoughts about like how magic should work in these things or like what it looks like or all this kind of stuff
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The best
and
thoughts.
yeah, it's yeah, you hang out with your friends and you hallucinate for a little bit for like uh,
Yeah.
for like a couple of hours and you think really hard about how fictional magic works.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It
and
it's definitely the first thing, or one of the first things I think about when I GM is how does magic work in this world? Because it's just
it's
so, yeah.
it's so much fun. And there's also like so much other random stuff to think about. And I recently I like messaged Rob and I was like, "Hey Rob, I have a really dumb question for you, but it's also I want your opinion and that is does should healing hurt?" And the
Whoa.
concept of this is that, like the thought on it is this is that um you get injured, obviously that hurts, and then you have all of these spells that can like knit a body back together really fast, so it's no more than just like healing a single cut or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's healing broken bones, it's healing like large injuries, all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, in my head when I think about that, that to me seems like you have this like your body's doing all of this stuff that would be painful.
I think
Like,
so. Because it's not like time travel, you know? It's not like it's letting the wound heal at its own pace sped up. It's like that would be too powerful. So it's like forcing the body to put in extra effort to make sure the wound heals extra quickly. That seems like it would be, you would at least be very drained afterwards, if not a super painful experience, I think.
yeah, it would be a lot. I just imagine that it would be there would be a lot of discomfort, especially if it's like a huge injury that you're trying to heal from. And there's something so fun about trying to like work through these like ideas of how will magic work? What are the rules here?
Hmm.
Like, what are your limitations? And stuff like that. Like, yeah, is healing painful? Is it
I
is it something that comes with a cost?
I'd hate to sound like a weeb, but I feel like you would really like the anime. and the manga Dungeon Meshi because they really do go into that very, very intensely, and it's absolutely epic. It's so good. Um,
I think you're the second person to suggest this one to me. So I need to I think I need to check this out
it's
because I've been getting recommendations.
it's really good. I don't really watch anime often, and I am a little bit obsessed. It's pretty fantastic. It starts off as a comedy and then it gets so dark so quickly. Um,
Perfect. That's
but the magic
like all
system
the
in the
media I
in the
like.
world and the biology of the world is just incredibly interesting. So I really recommend it. Shall we move on to the next question, I think?
Yes, go for it.
Uh, where do you see your character? Well, maybe hold on. Let's check into chat really quickly because I haven't looked.
Right.
I've been
You
ignoring them.
weirdos saying, I'm here now. I can just say whatever I want.
Um,
You can't stop me.
I
YouTube
don't.
chat can't stop me.
No one can stop you, Alex. You're in
This is
charge.
true.
Uh, I'm not going to read out everybody's because you're here and I don't want to take time away from questions, but I will read out the most fascinating ones, which is uh, can I say how cool I think it is that Mari contains the mystery or the deep and the mystery of outer space while wearing a kick ass cowboy hat? That's from Scotty.
Canonically. Yes, canonically she wears that hat.
Canonically. Um, And my girlfriend says, "Does she have a favorite, and why is it Jack?" Um, I don't think that's true. Rest in peace, Jack. Uh, Rob says, "I think it's really grounding to have all these magic tools connected with the earthy tree nature kind of thing, especially because his magic is getting less well understood all the time and kind of weird on him." So yeah, interesting,
Yeah.
fascinating. That's for the Jack stream though, Rob. Shut up. Just
I'll
kidding.
be in the chat then, Rob. You can't stop me there either.
Uh, I guess I could. Okay, Andy says I could stop her, I guess, by like disconnecting our router or something. You absolute monster, you
How
freak.
dare you?
How dare you?
I will hotspot if I have to.
I will fly to Canada. I don't know what I'll do when I'll get there, but I will.
Have you
Um,
seen this man?
no. I don't even have a picture of him is the thing. Have you heard of this man?
There's this menace. He's in Discord.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know what he's like. Assume he has a British accent. Do you know who this man is? Um,
He's British adjacent.
he's British adjacent. Okay. Okay. Where do you see your character arc going? Do you have an end goal in mind for her? Do you want her to develop into a specific person, grow into a better one, or decay into a worse one? Go off. This one's really
Ooh.
vague, so you can really
Yeah.
go in any direction.
Yeah, and I don't want to go into like too much detail in the way that like I
Hmm.
don't want it to be like here's all my thoughts and here's the arc we're gonna have and just spoil everything.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
also
yeah.
too, I find that for excuse me for doing stuff like this, there's always the chance that like things will change, stuff will happen, like that there will be something will happen in the game and that's going to change your plan moving forward when it comes to like certain character aspects.
Hmm.
um
It's the joy of improv.
that's half the fun is like bouncing off those things. I think Joe's got a fantastic ability to challenge you,
Yeah.
especially in more role playing moments where suddenly you're like, "Oh God, what am I gonna do now? What am I gonna do?" And there's a few things coming up in some future episodes
Vague
that
spoilers. Go ahead.
I yes, that there's there's a couple of scenes that I had a lot of fun doing that yeah, again, I'm always like so I always love so much how Joe can push
Yeah.
and can kind of find these ways to not to like almost get under your character's skin in a sense, which is very fun as a player. Um to
Hmm.
have this to not just have like the challenges of like fighting and all of the like the battle challenges and stuff like that, but also to have the challenge of having to role play through these things,
Yeah.
and to have these moments like with Alistair and like even the first episode for Mari, she just gets dumped into this story and suddenly it's things are out of
It's the
control like
worst
very
ever. Yeah.
fast.
It's not even like an
Um,
easy like arc. It's like really intense
yeah,
immediately.
and I had no idea. I went in blind.
Hmm.
So But yeah, there's lots of stuff I want to do with her. I do think one thing that for me is always very interesting is her relationship to death and her
Mm.
relationship and her feelings and thoughts around these things, because like an earlier question that I kind of zooped over, because we just kind of kept moving on, and that's on me, is like the question about like where about like Mari's dead friends and like where
Mhm.
does this stuff come from. And I think um when I was putting her together, uh I hadn't like listened to the show. I had done I had appeared on some Invictus stream stuff, but I had not listened through to the show. I got asked to join. Um and then I was like, okay, there's not enough time for me to listen to like 140 episodes of this show before joining.
Mhm.
So I went through like a handful of them. I listened through to a bunch of them, just random ones mostly.
Really?
To
That's
I
fascinating.
Part of it was that I didn't want to feel like, my concern was that if I went in and I had listened to everything, there would always be this knowledge in the back of my head of everything the characters had done, and I was worried that I
That would
could
affect your
start that
actions.
I, well, that it would start metagaming, or that
Yeah.
I that and that like, there'd be things where Mari shouldn't know it, but I would know it, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I want to learn a lot of these things in the same way as her, so that if I don't know it, she doesn't know it. So I listened to stuff so I could get the tone right when I was joining the show. So I listened to a bunch of episodes, and part of the things that I wanted to one of the things I wanted to do with her was I didn't want her to be too quippy or anything. I didn't want her to be I wanted her to have this sort of almost seriousness to her
Nice.
that was a bit of a foil to some of the other characters, because I think there's a lot of really great, like fun, like these bright, fun characters
Red and
with
Doran.
Red and Doran, and you've got all of this energy, and Jack, and all this energy with them and everything. So I wanted somebody who um didn't come in like guns a blazing. I wanted her to
Be grounded.
um yeah, I wanted her to be grounded, and I wanted her to have this past that was, I guess, in a sense, like difficult enough that you could understand why she would leave, but not so dark that you'd be like, dear God, like, what have you done?
Mhm.
Um, so, so having her walk away from this life because of the death of her friends and this guilt that she carries with her, and this current of it, these fears and this discomfort and this feeling of uh, her lack of confidence with some of these things.
Yeah.
That was sort of where I wanted to start and where to build from. And so yeah, one of the things that I'm thinking about moving forward with her a lot is her relationship to death, and her relationship, or in her feelings around it, and her, she's carried these fears, but at what point do you
Drop them.
start morphing those fears
Oh.
into other emotions, into other feelings,
Oh.
and I want to keep pushing her into somebody more. I don't know how to describe it, but I want to keep pushing the character, and I want to look and really have that sort of be the focal point. This where her relationship with death and her magic and all of these things, because she's brought a character back from the dead, like that to me is a huge, that is not, it's a huge thing. It's not something to be taken lightly. You
No.
have the ability to walk into this space in between life and death and pull somebody back, like, so I want that to be something that like is a focal point moving forward,
Yeah.
or not even a focal point, but a thing that is constantly sort of there in her head, and how she works around the concepts of life and death and magic and all of these
That's
things.
really cool. I love that. I think it's a really cool. I think it's a very interesting part of the group because I think that maybe in season one, Revivify was death. I don't know how much I want to talk about that because it'll probably take away from Mari, but like death was a central point. but also Revivify was always there and very casually talked about. So I think that like
Mhm.
having Mari treat death and revivification very seriously, I think is a very fun twist on the podcast itself. But that's all I'll say on that. Um, um, uh, do you think there would be a point where Mari would give up on the campaign? Would she leave if certain people died, or would she become apathetic or disillusioned or distracted?
I think that like speaking for her now, I think that there would be a real challenge for her if some of the other characters died. I think that those bonds are in such a fresh state that
Mm-hmm.
to lose them now would be very difficult. And there's already been a few kind of like close call-ish moments where
I mean,
the
this
again the
episode.
fear comes back. Yeah, this episode, oh my god.
Yeah.
there is there's I remember recording this and just being like, oh my god, and like so like every I think Andy said in the chat at one point where it was like, you know, the number of times Alex has walked out of the room after recording had been like, we're so screwed. And like
Yeah.
this one is one where I was like, we are so screwed. Like I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do. There's like 900 kobolds. There's all these guys trying to kill us. Oh my god.
Doran's a
Um,
squirrel, and I don't know what to
Jordan's a
do.
squirrel. Oh my god. I'd also for I hadn't I listened to that episode today. I hadn't got the chance to listen to it yet, and so I listened to it today, and I'd forgotten that Alex goes, when he gets paralyzed, he goes, "Yeah, but I'm paralyzed. I'm in a really cool pose though," or so whatever. And I lost it again, like.
Alex is king of one-liners, fumbled
Oh,
one-liners.
it's
Um,
just it's so good.
yeah. Uh, okay, cool. So the answer is yes, essentially. She could.
Yeah. Oh, I've there have been times where I've thought about like what would happen if she had to bring back one of the characters. Like if she had to, if she
Mm-hmm.
was like, I'm doing it. And I have my thoughts and feelings about what she would do if like if Jack died or something. And it was like, you know, I'm gonna, you know, if that discussion comes up, like
I
if
mean,
Doran's like, don't do it, and I'm like, I know how she would react in this moment.
Doran has explicitly asked to not be resurrected, like on the
And
podcast.
mhm.
And I think Red also asked for that. Jack was not. Jack, I mean, in this episode, he joked that he would like to be on the
Yeah.
reincarnation list. So I think he's probably not in the same boat, but that's very
Ev-
interesting.
every time reincarnate comes up, I go, hear me out. Bring them back as a hot water genasi, just like a big beefcake water
Win
genasi.
back
No one's
Torin.
taking. bring just yeah, I'm like, just do it. Just let's bring them back, but they're like super hot.
Yeah, yeah.
No one's taking me up on this one, but Joe's like, no. And I'm like, I don't blame you. If I was the DM, if I was the DM, I'd also be like, no. But as a player, I can also be a massive dipshit. So,
What do
um,
you mean?
oh, I'm so normal in the chat.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
clearly so very normal in the chat. You don't sound like a problem player. I've had
I
problem
would
players.
just so suddenly in the chat, just like she is like, oh god.
Joe
No, I
suddenly shows up and
oh,
says that you're a problem. That would be,
oh god.
I mean, I would be too busy celebrating to feel for you. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that'd be very funny. But no, I have fun.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like a fucking blast. Jack would rather be a beefy water genasi than dead, is what Rav has just said.
I'll do it, Rob. I'll do it.
Hey,
I'll
Torin, you go back to Waterdeep as a hot, beefy water genasi, and you win back Torin's heart like that, it'd be easy. Step A, die. Step B, reincarnate. Step C, go to Waterdeep.
we just keeps killing him over and over again until it's reincarnated correctly.
Oh
It's like
shit,
the
Jack,
worst
you're a
Groundhog
gnome.
Day.
Sorry, hold on 1 second.
Yeah. Boof. Oh
That's good.
man. Yeah,
That
there's
that actually legitimately happened in another D&D podcast where uh he it was a character that was very attached to his ego and his looks and his pride, and he was gonna come back as a gnome, and he said, "Just kill me, just kill me." But he came back as a half elf, and he settled for that. So
All right.
yeah,
I just want to say Andy put in chat water Jack Nassie and oh my god.
hey, I'm about it. But like, don't kill Jack to turn him into a beefy water genasi. That doesn't seem necessary. Well, all right. I guess
I'll
you're
find a
gonna
way.
settle. Gee, this is why Torin doesn't love you, I guess.
Oh. Claws out.
Amazing
Um
dating advice right here. Thank you. Yeah. Um, okay. Is there a specific ability, feat, magic item, or level up you're looking forward to? I guess magic item you don't know, but
yeah, I
druids
mean
are
like the
pretty
thing.
epic.
Sorry?
Druids are pretty epic, just as they
Druids
are.
are druids are fun. I mean, I would there's like some there's mostly I feel like I look ahead at spells and I'm like, "Oh, I can't wait to get that weird spell, like this
Yeah.
one cool spell." There's so much stuff that like looks awesome. I feel like I was just waiting for level 10 because then Starry Form I can keep changing between it without using an action. That was like
Yeah.
the thing that I was like, come on baby, let me shift between these forms without having to like waste actions or like or actually no, I couldn't even shift before. I would have to like turn her back to herself and then
Then
wild
shift?
shape again,
Wow.
which is just
Damn.
a which I'm not gonna do because it's a waste of wild shapes. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I I I'm yeah, the hard part is yeah, I mean there's always I would love to have her. I would love to like upgrade her staff into something like meaner. I have
Yeah.
ideas. I have ideas if I could ever do them. But
Something meaner.
that's not a question I can that's not a thing I can answer. I would love to give her like a because yeah, currently her staff only is really useful if it's been
It's situational.
um, yeah, it's only if she's cast Shillelagh on it because
Yeah.
Mari's got like a negative one onto strength. She's like made of noodles.
Hmm.
She's uh she's not designed to hit things. Um,
So it doesn't really help.
yeah, it only really works when like Shillelagh's been cast, but I would love to beef that bad boy up and to give her something that's just real spooky looking. I want to make her like creepier sometimes.
Honestly,
But that's also because I like write horror stuff, so I'm always like, what if she was a little scarier? Like, no, no, no. Doesn't make any sense.
no, no, no. I'm with you. I'm with you. She definitely could be using. She definitely needs something badass because all of her current equipment is cool, but I think that Red has had like three bows handed to him throughout the campaign, and Jack just got a cool new staff and also a cool new dragon. And Doran is just he's got hero's armor and hero's axe. He's kind of good for a while.
then you got then you got this chick in a coat.
Yeah.
It's just hanging out.
So her knife's pretty
She's just
cool, but
yeah,
not
she's got this.
mechanically helpful.
No, it's not very strong. It is. I love the knife. And that was one of the things that Joe and I came up with
Hmm. That's
when
so
the when
cool.
it started. I was like, here's the thought, knife that makes flowers, and so we built that,
Yeah.
because it was
Epic and
it-
awesome and cool and
yeah,
badass. Yeah.
and I love it, and I love it. It's fun for yeah, it's fun mechanically. It's fun for things like again the staff like busting through locks. You know, like little moments in the show. Would I use it in a fight only if she really needed it
It's a
because it
utility
doesn't.
knife.
Yeah, it's like it's got like 1d4 damage that grows if it's stuck in something, but
Ooh.
um because it just keeps growing flowers, but
Yeah.
you have to leave it in for like a bunch of turns. So so
Yeah.
really you just have to hope that they don't notice.
I mean, for one, you
And
have to get close as a druid and then stick a knife into them, get away scot-free, and hope that you get your knife back.
yeah, no, and I want to keep the knife and like although like Mari could start getting closer to stuff. She is like shockingly tanky for
Yeah,
a.
druids are called overpowered because they can kind of do anything. They can be
Yeah,
tanky, they can be back. Yeah, their range and melee. Yeah, they're incredible.
yeah. Mari's shockingly able to take a lot of hits,
Yeah.
and I need to just start getting her more in there so
Hmm.
she can just get hit in the face a bunch.
Yeah.
Because
Everybody loves
I feel
that.
like I feel like we had that moment in the this fight that's playing out currently on the show
Hmm.
where it's like, you know, Mari's taken all these hits, and I think Jack takes like 3, and he's like, I got 9 hit points
I'm
left. And I
I'm
was
out of
like,
the
oh
fight,
god,
guys.
yeah, oh god, noodle, like the noodle armed wizard, like literal glass cannon,
Yeah.
like. Although I don't know, Jack's getting, he's fine. He's fine. It's all good.
Are you sure?
Um, no, I don't know. That's a Rob question. Are we talking like physically or mentally?
Uh, Honestly, I don't think that dude's doing very well in either category. um,
Oh, buddy.
yeah.
Uh,
Wizards don't usually get like a lot of health in general, no matter how much they level up, and I don't think that they
no.
get a lot of defensive spells either. I mean,
No.
my knowledge of wizards is low, but still. Um,
It's I think they just it's just get really strong, try not to die.
yeah.
Like stand back and then just start spamming silvery barbs or something and
They are such a team player class that it's very funny that the trope of wizards is that they isolate in a tower very far away from people, where it's like it's just nobody's protecting you anymore, so I guess you have to be as far away from society as possible so nobody will walk up and hit you with a club and kill you instantly, I guess.
yeah,
Um,
like y'all better make some friends or else you're gonna be in for a bad time.
no kidding.
Yeah.
Marimo, hi, welcome.
Hi, Marimo.
Uh, okay. I think I might skip 6. Uh, do you have a favorite moment or arc in the podcast where your character really shined?
Oh, the hard part is that one of my favorite things is not out yet. So,
No!
ooh, oh
Don't say
no.
that to me. I need to know
Aha.
more.
I one thing I really liked early on was the scene with Red and Doran in the the public bathhouse or whatever,
Mm,
where they're having the beers and she's just got like fistfuls of pineapple.
she's a
And
jock.
I think that that's there's I think that like playing any kind of character like this, little pieces of yourself will creep into it. And some of those more like moments of her being an absolute dude bro are sort of like pulled from, not me, maybe not so much me currently as, but probably like me in my 20s. um
I think that
and
Joe has called you the most dude of the podcast before in one intro. Like,
I would say that that's probably like the most like broski on there. It's like it is fucking neck and neck between me and Alex Guthrie.
both Alexes.
Yeah, the Alexes are holding down the
The
dude
bro
bro
fort.
category.
Yeah,
Yes, we are the yeah, no, there's a
that's really funny.
and I'm sure Rob could probably attest to that one, but I think that if you were going to find the who here is the most likely to like go full broski, it's gonna be either one of the Alexes.
who's who's most likely to be in a frat?
Oh god, that's I think no, not me.
It's Alex.
Between the two of us, it's if most likely to be in a frat, probably Alex.
My
But
girlfriend has just put dude bro Mari, blushy face
yes,
Rose.
yes, she I feel like she was 100% like before she left home, like just an absolute hoot at parties, and it comes out when she's had a little bit of wine and suddenly it's it's all there again. She's using her magic for it's not evil, but I don't know if it's good. She is doing like the yeah,
She's
the
using her
magical beer
magic for
bongs and
neutral.
yeah, using her magic for just making the party rage. Um
Rage hard.
so yeah, Andy
That's
says
yeah. Her
Oh,
party attitude is it's very funny to be like, "Yeah, Mari's drunk." It's just like immediately.
she's in. She's ready to go.
Yeah,
I need her to have some fun. I can't have her be
completely and utterly
so
depressed.
no, like that's too much of a bummer. So having those moments where she gets to like let loose a bit is very fun for me, is highly entertaining. But yeah, I loved that. I liked getting to give the other players the birdsong rings. Um, and that was a thing that got discussed like quite a
Mm,
while before that happened. Um, and
that
uh,
was a good moment.
and so
Really
that
cool
was
moment to do it too.
yeah, and so that was fun. I think the moments where she gets to lighten up a little are very uh like kind of like those like special little moments for me. They're very fun.
Mhm.
Um and and yeah, I like having those moments where you get to see those bonds with the other characters grow a bit more. Like I liked there was uh oh, is it when they were in that the little town where there was the three witches? Um,
Oh,
and there's a very you get this little moment of like her and Jack going for pastries.
yeah.
Um, like that kind of stuff for me is always like very nice. I like being able to have those because it again it grounds her back in this world. It gives her this space to find connection after spending so much time just on her own.
Yeah.
And
Her isolation period always really interested me. It's a very different intro from the rest of the characters, so I always I always have so many questions about what she was specifically doing in that time and like why she chose to isolate like that. But I feel like maybe that's better answered in the podcast eventually. But like, yeah, no, it's very interesting to see her almost stop being a hermit and connect with her party members in soft little sweet moments like that. It
yeah,
You kind of get
because
the impression that she's like shedding off some rust of human interaction, you know?
yeah, I think that for me she's a character who has like a lot of abilities to connect and to and who wants to find those connections, but has kind of put up a lot of walls,
Mhm.
and that's the hard part. The hard part is allowing yourself to um, be vulnerable again.
Yeah.
And especially in a situation in which you're so out of your element, where suddenly there things are a lot more dangerous, things are a lot like darker. You are literally underground. It
It's
is a
not a lifestyle
huge
that she's
change.
ever had before. It's very
No,
interesting to see her reconnect with society in the most unhinged way.
incredibly deranged. Just
Yeah.
like here you go. I need you to go start like killing giants. Good luck.
Go join a
And
violent band. Maybe you'll feel better
yeah.
about yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's also why, like, she's had these moments where she's pushed back on the idea of, like or not even pushed back, but, like, been trying to, like, come to terms with the fact, like, "Am I an adventurer?" Because for the longest time, she was, like, a wanderer, which is a
Yeah,
very different vibe.
very different. Um,
Eh,
yeah, amazing. Uh, shall we jump to the last couple questions? We have 15 minutes left.
yeah, sure.
If your character died, this one's quick and easy. What class would you play next?
Ooh, I don't know if I do a monk. I mean, part of me
Andy
would
just
want
retracted a message.
Oh, what did you do, you
What
coward?
is
What
that
did you
about?
say? Um I think you might have just misspelled something. Hey, meet this wizard. Okay, he's full of worms now.
Oh,
Um, oh, so gross. Um, what was it? I think, God, if she died, oh, I don't want that. But maybe I'd probably want to stick to being a magic user if I had to like if I woke up tomorrow and they were like, "We've killed your character, loser," I'd be like, "Oh God."
We killed your
And
character, loser, but you're still on the podcast, so could you
yes,
please make
off
another character?
we Mari died on the way back to our home planet.
Get dunked
Um,
on, fool. So
I
can you
would
turn in your character sheet?
probably
Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
oh my God. I would probably do I don't know, I don't know, maybe like a I don't know,
I
something
believe in you.
I would do another magic user, but I don't know if I'd
Sorcerer?
wanted maybe um I I'm trying to like cuz yeah, there's
Warlock?
part like
Sorcerer?
my original thought was like, "Ooh, I would love to play a cleric," but I'm like, "Okay, I love a cleric." So it doesn't really work to be like, "We
Well,
have another cleric back."
but like he was a cleric of a very specific deity and had a
That's
very.
true.
I think you could very easily differentiate yourself as a cleric.
That's true. I play a slightly different druid.
Yeah.
No, I would maybe do a warlock. I think that could be
Ooh.
fun.
Cool.
Um, but 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 yeah, I think I'd probably do a warlock. Um,
Sick.
I would play a wizard, and I would just spend the entire time annoying the hell out of Jack as
Just be a better
as
wizard.
no a worse wizard.
Or be a sorcerer that thinks they're a wizard, just to fuck with Jack. Of like, oh, it doesn't
Ooh,
come naturally to you? Oh
I
man.
like that. Sorcerers are like the nepo babies
Yeah.
of magic and
Mm-hmm.
warlocks. So I feel like it yeah, doing the whole thing like, oh, you have to
Yeah. My
like your
dad's
magic.
a dragon, so
What is a warlock but an edgy cleric? This is true. I would yeah, I would probably do like a war. I would still stay a magic user. I don't really want to do a
I respect that.
hey Marshall unless I absolutely have to. And I could, but I would
Yeah.
I need my fancy spells.
I
I need to be describing glittery stuff.
there are martial classes that throw in a little bit of spells, and those are the ones I tend to gravitate towards as well.
Not enough.
Not enough. I'll be an arcane trickster rogue. I'll fuck with that, but
That's true.
yeah. Okay. Your new podcast. How much do you
New
want to talk about
podcast.
it? What's the
Ooh.
pitch? What
The
is it?
pitch the pitch is the shortest pitch I could do is gay werewolf not gay werewolf, gay vampire detectives.
Oh,
Um
sick.
yes. It is a the new show that myself and Emily and Ian, all from Parkdale Haunt, are working on is called Woodbine. Um, and and it is a show about a small detective agency in Toronto that is also it happens to be run by vampires and
Like Toronto happens to be run by or the detective agency.
the literal Toronto is run by like a lot of ghouls as far as I'm concerned. There's
Ooh.
looking at well that's Ontario at this point, but that's just my political feelings and they are real bitter. Um, but
You're talking to
no
somebody
the
from the US of A. I feel
yes
yeah.
oh this is a good point this is a good point.
Yeah.
No the detective agency is run by vampires and it looks into the um monstrous underbelly of Toronto and
Cool.
how there's a whole other world down there that is that we can discover and it's been very fun. It's a lot lighter than Parkdale. It's not like a true horror show. It is
Oh, thank God.
um
I
definitely
might
a little
participate then.
yes. It's not I would not describe it as like a true horror. There's like elements in the fact that it focuses on monsters and those kinds of things, but like not in the way you'd expect.
Tension is
We've
different
had
than horror. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
and we also for the Dice Shame people, we also have in some cases cameos of everyone from Dice Shame, or in some cases full on recurring characters. Which
Sick.
means that I have spent anyone who's been listening to Dice Shame and they're like, man, I love Jack, but I wish he was evil. I
He
recommend
already
listening to
is.
the show. Yeah. The I've basically just spent like the last like several weeks being like Rob, I'm gonna give you some lines. I need you to just say some horrible, horrible things.
Oh,
And he rises to it,
that's
and then I
awesome.
message him, and then I message him being like, Rob, why would you say these things? And he's like, you wrote them. And I'm like, yeah, but you said them.
I recorded it. Oh my
Yeah, you
god.
wrote them and directed it. So like, what's wrong with you?
That's awesome.
Um,
That's
it's
incredible.
it's very fun. Harlan's in the show, Joe is in the show. Alex, you get Alex Guthrie. Um, and
Incredible.
it is it's very fun. So we actually recorded a bunch of it together one weekend, which was fun. Um, and yeah, it's the same time when we recorded the jelly bean video.
Really?
Yeah,
God,
that was the same day.
that's awesome, actually. Holy shit.
So
Wow.
we were recording new stuff, and yeah, they were recording stuff for my new show, and then and I had left the room. Yeah, I had left the room. I came back, and the jelly bean discussion was happening, where it was like they all taste the same. There's like two flavors, like pink and licorice.
Mm, I kind of am on Alex Guthrie's side in that there's the differences between them is too subtle to matter.
It
Uh,
is very subtle.
yeah. So why bother?
But, but yes, the new show is out in the fall, and it's very it's fun. I've been having a lot of fun making it. If you listened to Parkdale, it's gonna be a lot of the same voices, not the same characters, but technically it's like we joke that it's like in the same universe. It's set in the other side of Toronto. Parkdale is on the west end. This show takes place on the east end, so
Cool.
it is it's a lot of fun, and I would like to thank all of the Dice Shame people for coming in and playing various characters ranging from the completely deranged to the much more normal, but still a little weird. And also Rob, who's in chat. Thank you to Rob for coming in and being absolutely terrifying at points.
Really?
Yes,
That is a side of Rob I have not heard. That is incredible.
I've heard so much of it.
Amazing. I mean, that's a pitch to me in my soul. The fact that it's not a horror podcast and it has the Dice Shame crew is like, ugh, I'm
Yeah.
fascinated. It comes out in fall, which is perfect. Spooky season.
Yeah. It's it is yeah, it's like it's just a little spooky for when you need a little spooky, but mostly it's just either funny or yeah, we're building in all kinds of stuff in this one that we did not do in Parkdale, which will be fun.
That's awesome.
But if you're a fan of that, yeah, you got there's a lot of the returning actors, including the guy who played Austin Bird, including we've got Ian back, playing. I pitched his character to him. I was like, "You're kind of a himbo," and he's
And
like,
he,
"I don't know how I'm gonna get that in my voice, but okay."
oh, I think anybody on the planet Earth would jump at the chance to be a himbo, honestly. Um, those are my favorite like characters to play is like a big stupid oaf. Because
Yes,
yeah.
just big and hot and dumb.
Yeah. Spice of life. Um,
Exactly.
and we have 7 minutes left. Do you want to talk about those fucking books?
Oh, the books. That was that was several months of mine and Andy's life.
Months even. Wow,
Oh my
incredible.
god. Yeah, we
I mean, they came out
um
extremely well, so worth it for
thank
sure.
you.
But yeah.
We I pitched the idea to Andy to do these. So Andy knows how to bind books. He learned back when we first started dating. So like 13 years ago, he made me some sketchbooks,
Aw.
these watercolor sketchbooks, taught himself. And since then we've done our friends' wedding guest books. We've done some things. I did a book for Emily. If for anyone who's a Magnus Archives fan, I did a gift from Mr. Spider book in full, like full hand illustrated, like hardcover bound, that she has. Um, and back in it would have been probably like late November, early December last year, I pitched to Andy doing these books. And he was like, "That's 5 books. That's a lot of books." And I'm like, "Yay! No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's
It'll be
in and out in
easy.
20 minutes. In and out in 20 minutes. It'll be good."
Yeah.
So like the loose plans started end of last year, and then sort of around March of this year was when it like really picked up, like end of February into March, I think was when we started like we dug back in again. So through March, started doing all that, getting the materials, because these books are done like top to tail. So
Mhm.
so you have to like go source the paper,
Yeah.
and then do a lot of math. Thank God for Andy doing all the math, because we have to because every sheet is hand cut.
It's the worst part of
um,
art is all the math.
oh, so much
You get an
math
art degree
and
thinking, "Oh, I'll never have to do math again," and then
no,
you're
there's so
wrong.
much
You're
math.
so wrong, yeah.
God, thankfully Andy is incredibly organized and incredibly detail oriented in a way that like I got like pure like art brain where I'm like, it's fine, it's just vibes,
Wing
bro.
it, it's fine.
And yeah, and Andy's like, we got a plan. So yeah, so procuring all of this stuff, and he had to teach me how to do like a lot of the stuff because I did not know how to do it. So yeah, so we started working on those and just trying to get through like pieces of it, like every night, like do a little more, do a little more, like you put on Buffy and you do a little more and you sew
Mhm.
the books. And yeah, they went it went it was bookbinding's really great to do if you don't value your time or your sanity or like your money. Like then get into bookbinding.
It's so true. It's like, "Oh, you know what? Maybe it'll be cheaper if I make it myself." It is so not
No.
cheaper. No, you're
No.
so wrong. It's not
God.
cheaper, it's not easier.
No.
Yeah.
It is very satisfying though. And it
Oh,
was very
yeah.
satisfying to make these. And I what was it? We did those. We did those. So those took, I think building the books took from like March to May. And
Wow.
then I did the covers. So the covers are all done by hand. So those are all done with basically just like a dip pen and just like a very small paintbrush and a lot of gold acrylic ink.
Oh,
Um
I love gold
so
acrylic ink. It's addicting. It's so
I
beautiful.
I've gone through so much.
Yeah.
I learned how to gild edges. So the book the Jack book actually has the gilded edges on it, like the
Oh,
gold
beautiful.
edges on all the paper. Um and the funny thing was that the number of times that I would be working on something like that in my brain and I would think like I would take a photo of something to like take records and I would almost go to message Rob and be like, "Oh, you'd find this cool," and then have to stop myself is way more than I care to admit through this whole
That's
process.
so real.
God, and yeah, we did that. The funniest one was trying to sew when we sewed the books. Sorry, I'm just babbling about these books now.
No, I love
Um,
bookbinding. Please go off.
we were Andy and I were sewing them. So the first two we sewed was I sewed the red book, Andy sewed the Doran book. Those went well. Those took like about 45 minutes. But we're doing this on hard mode because normally you'd use a wax twine, and for
Mhm.
these we used embroidery thread.
Oh, did you? Oh, man.
Yes, which is insane. Terrible.
Yeah.
Well, not a terrible idea, but like if you're gonna do that, it's it's nuts. You're doing it's like being like, I want to learn how to bake. My first thing I'll be doing is a wedding cake. Because the thread tangles
Oh,
like
embroidery thread is fucking awful.
it tangles so fast. So,
Yeah.
and when you start with these books, we had like at least 5 feet of loose of thread going at each time. So those first few signatures are terrifying as you're like working. It's a massive arm workout because you basically have both arms working at all times.
Mhm.
Um, and I got halfway, no, one third of the way through sewing the Jack book, and I got a knot that could not be unpicked.
No.
It was just it was like that moment where you're like, there is literally nothing we can do other than
Start
tear all the
over.
stitches out and start again.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Andy was working on Joe's book and also hit like a massive snag. So those two books took us like over an hour and a half to do. Um,
Devastating.
yeah, the first two we were like smooth sailing. Everything's great. We're doing so well. And then we got to those two and we're like, life is pain. This is terrible. What is wrong with us? Why am I doing this?
I really relate.
And
I really
oh
relate.
God, it's
I
just brutal.
it is. My senior thesis actually was bookbinding, or part of it was, and I did use thread I really should not have used. I think it might have been
Oh.
embroidery thread. It was bad. It was actually similar to the gold acrylic ink. It was this golden thread that was super shiny, and I'm like, oh, it's beautiful. It'll work perfectly. It nodded every 5 seconds, and I gave up. It was like,
Oh.
all right, I'm back to regular
Just
bullshit.
just you understand that moment of like,
Yeah,
why did I do this? Oh my god. So
yeah.
yeah, no, it all worked out. It all worked out in the end. We did the books. I think the easiest the easiest cover, I'm putting air quotes around it because they all took time, but the most simple one was probably the Doran one because doing any work on the leather is so much easier than doing it on the fabric.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Doran and the Jack books were like, I was just moving along, like doing all this stuff,
No
and the
problem.
leather is so much more forgiving.
Oh yeah.
Um, and my one uh the one tiny detail that like only will ever like notice or think about, which is fine, is that on the Jack book,
Well, now
because I
you're gonna
tried to
tell
age
Rob, and now
he
Rob's gonna notice.
Rob knows,
Okay, okay.
is that on it, and it's very subtle, which is the book, the leather is slightly more worn where your fingers would go if you were holding the book like holding the book open.
Mm.
So just like this, so the way that the leather is worn is different than on the Doran book. The Doran book is worn sort of more overall, whereas the Jack book is worn by use in a different way.
Hmm.
And then yeah, and then doing the Mari, the Red, and Joe's book, they're all fabric and they're it's a textured fabric. So those were terrifying working on those ones. Not so much the Mari one because I was like, if I fuck this up, it's just me. But
I
uh
I
sorry.
hear all your struggles, and yet I feel like you feel the same. The joy of bookbinding is that the final result is always fucking fantastic.
Oh
Like
yeah,
no matter what, it's epic.
I was I when I got to the end and um I was like looking at like I really was like incredibly proud of the work on all of the books. But
Mhm.
there's some small details on Joe's book on the dice, on the die on the front and on the
Oh
back, that I
yeah.
was like very proud of getting that to work. Um, and then also the lettering on the Red book. That idea for that one where it's like red's drawn over the book was actually Andy's
Oh,
suggestion,
was
which I
it?
thought that was Andy.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
because we were working through the cover ideas, and Andy suggested that, and it felt so perfect that it would be like, like, you ever heard about me? And it just like slams this book down. It's just like red-handed Robin. Ah, so you have heard about me, like,
It's really
and
perfect. I loved all those little character details and the little doodles of that Red like drew on the sides, and it's just
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. There's I have a lot of attachment to the little doodle on the back where there's like the dragon that's in the gold foil, but then beside it, like he's drawn the fire in.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that. It was so cute.
It was a lot of fun to get to do these and to think like hard about what applies to the character, and
Mhm.
to like think of these little details and to build them, like the Doran book is the only one that has metal incorporated into it, and like
Oh.
it has actual metal corners.
Yeah.
um and yeah, the Jack book with this map, and the little drawing of my interpretation of recent Kieran, um
Mhm.
and yeah, it was very it was very fun to do these. It was a lot of work. It was incredibly terrifying at points where I was like, oh god, if I fuck this up, I'm like so screwed. But incredibly satisfying. I cannot express how much work Andy did. He did tons in making this work. Without him, they don't exist. So Andy also gets a huge amount of credit on this one. But it was a lot of fun, and it was a just complete labor of love for these wonderful weirdos that I get to hang out with like basically every week
Yeah.
for the last 2 years, and yeah,
Two
they're
years.
I know
Wow.
they're truly lovely, and I have been very lucky to get to um you know do this stuff, to like make new friends, to have this kind of chance to
Oh.
like go into this situation like once a week and just be this like this little weirdo.
Oh.
Um yeah,
That's so
and
heartwarming. I'm
and yeah,
so
and
glad that we get to witness it, you know?
I
It's a very touching podcast. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh no, yeah, I just yeah, it is there's something, there's something very um special about getting to do this kind of stuff, and I'm always incredibly appreciative of the fact that like I get to do this, and I've had an incredibly enjoyable time, and I really, yeah, I wanted to do something to um commemorate that time, and to have this keepsake for it, and then to have something, to be able to give something back,
A
because
physical, like,
yeah,
embodiment of it. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that like, you know, this all of this stuff, all of this stuff is, it's such a treat to be able to do this kind of stuff. It is such a treat to be able to go and to create and to have this like really wonderful little community, and to get to, hang out in the Discord with all of you wonderful weirdos, and to play, to sit around and to do the show, and to play D&D with these guys like basically weekly. So,
Yeah.
yes, there's I
That's
think,
that's
yeah.
wonderful. And it's it's too sweet. Um, but like it is. I'm really really happy for you, and I'm really happy that we get to hear it and we get to experience and we get to interact right back. And I'm really happy that the creators of this freaking awesome podcast are so present in the community, and it's just it's a real good back and forth. I think
It
a
it's
cycle of
fun.
awesomeness.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun, and, I think that, like, yeah, I don't know, there's something about wandering into that chat and just being able to, like, openly shitpost, and then be like and just have fun in there, and, um, yeah, I don't know, it's such a treat. I've been doing audio stuff professionally for about 10 years, and if I include radio shows, volunteer work, learning, like from the first time from my very first show, I've been doing this for just over 20. Um and yeah, if I've learned anything in that time, it is enjoy it. Enjoy it. All of this stuff is so special in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, and
Really really
it's
feel it
really,
and soak it up.
yeah. I mean, my first radio show I started when I was 15, on a community
Wow.
station. Yeah.
What the fuck?
So I've been on the mic for 20 years now.
Holy shit.
And um and yeah, I've been doing that stuff. I've hosted, I write, I do my own shows. And yeah, I it's it
I'm
is incredibly it is incredibly wonderful and special to get to do this kind of stuff, and I always try to be appreciative of these times, because it is always, it can things, life always keeps moving on, things always change, so to always have this real understanding and appreciation of the people you get to meet, and the communities you get to be a part of, and the worlds you get to build.
yeah. Wow. This is really inspiring.
I, I am an absolute ding dong most of the time, but I'm
You
also just
fucking
like
liar.
really earnest. So
Um okay. Incredible. Sorry, I'm just a 20-year-old punk from Oregon, so it's really cool to hear such a very 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 different perspective. I that's incredible. I wish I had more to say. It's unfortunately I am starving to death. It's a Swedish
Yes.
holiday, and my mom has made a bunch of really interesting Swedish foods, so I am desperate to
Ooh.
go eat. But
Yes, go eat the Swedish food. I'm sorry that we ran over
no,
with the, like,
no
babbling away.
apologies. Are you kidding? You're apologizing for talking about the sweetest thing in the world? You absolute asshole. I'm so sorry I was earnest.
Oh, it's yeah, that's also gonna come with it whenever I'm like, Ursa, I'm like, so sorry to do this, but
I'm so sorry to be a delight. My apologies
um,
for being wonderful.
but
Christ.
I mean, thank you for letting me just sit on this stream and yammer at you for like an hour.
Letting you. My god. Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you so much. This has
I
been
mean, yeah, you do lots of really wonderful art,
oh.
and you also, I mean, I love seeing it. I love seeing what you and all of the other fan artists come up with. There is such wonderful, lovely community.
Mhm.
It is such an absolute pleasure to get to interact with you guys and to have, such a sweet little space to hang
Yeah.
out in.
I so agree. I'm smiling so big right now. Yeah, I so agree. And I think that's a good place to call it.
It is. Go eat some food. Go
Yeah.
eat some Swedish food. Go eat
Good.
some, like, meatballs or whatever it
Oh
is.
yeah, it's 100% meatballs. You know it
Hell
is.
yeah.
Um good night everybody. Uh
Yes.
boop
Good
and
night, guys.
boop. Oh, amazing.
Hurrah.
Hurrah. We did it.
Yeah.